Hey guys, this is Tim. Just come back for I'm gonna start recording this second episode. Told y'all I'd start getting into, kind of describing who Luke was and why he was so special and all that characteristics, and kind of take in a little bit about who he was and why I miss him. Okay, well, Luke was, like I said, he was 29 when he died, and very, he's a very introverted person until you got him to open up, and then he was funniest, smartest person I ever knew. Graduated with honors. Got a full scholarship to Lycoming College. His biggest scholarship ever given at his high school was given to him the year he graduated. He decided to go to Lycoming College in Pennsylvania. That's where his mom was. That's where he spent the last, 10 years before he graduated. He declared his major as physics, but later changed that. When he graduated, me and his mother bought him a car so he could drive. It was college within driving distance of his mom's home, so that made me feel a little bit better. He growing up, he was a happy kid. Never got into any troubles. School, always got those letters sent home from teachers saying how much pleasure he was to have in class. Always got straight A's. Never got in any fights. Never got involved in drugs or mischief or anything like that. He was just an all-around good kid. Good kid. I don't ever remember him being sick growing up. Health-wise, he was always healthy. Always on the go. Loved to hang out and play with his cousins and his brother and sister and his friends, and he was all American kid. He once he got into high school, that was when parents usually get worried about kids and alcohol and drugs and experimenting and all that. But no, he just stayed focused on his studies and looked forward to college. And he got to Lycoming. He just didn't really. He went maybe a year and a semester, but said that he didn't really feel like that kind of schooling was for him. So he moved back down here to where I live, and he started taking courses in the community college that we have down here, is associated with the University of Kentucky. And he was happy with that. And I was happy he was back down here. And we spent a lot of time together. He lived with my parents, which would have been his grandparents, because they had a little bit extra room. They were kind of empty nesters, I guess, at the time. And so yeah, he moved in, and he was happy. He was really happy. He like the rest of his family, he was more of on the conservative side of politics. He was he believed in God. I know his mom, her family, they were all Catholic. When me and him discussed it, discussed how I felt, and I think because he was raised Catholic, he kind of leaned that way, but I don't think he 100% believed Catholic, like a Catholic believes fully. But yeah, he was a very good kid, very good kid. No, never had any troubles out of him whatsoever. We had so much in common. He was just like me. We loved watching movies. We like going to the movies. We like going out and trying new restaurants. Loved certain TV shows, finding new TV shows to watch, and we always talked about how cool the '80s were, and he was really into the '80s and the music and the movies and all that, and just a really, really fun, a delightful person to be around. And like I said, even when he got older, the only time I ever really seen him drink was when he was around his mom's family, or if there was a celebration going on, he might drink a little bit, but that was the extent of it. He was no daily drinker or anything like that, ever that I can recall. He liked to work out. He, like me, he liked to work out. He got early in his 20s. He kind of let himself go a little bit and got a little bit heavier than he ever thought he was, and then he started taking his exercising and eating correctly pretty seriously, and got back into shape. He was, as you can see in his pictures, which I'll show you, and a lot of you that are listening to this podcast know me from our support group, and you've seen all the pictures. He's always in pretty good shape. Let me see what else. He never had any problems with anybody. No troubles, no fights. Everybody that met him loved him, liked him. He would help you anytime anybody needed help. He'd get right in there and help you with whatever you needed to do. Helped me move a couple times, helped my brothers move, and worked on the backyard and cleaning the sheds out. When I was selling cars, he'd help me a little bit on that. We just always had a really good time. He was my best friend, I'll tell you that. Best friend from the day he was born. He was born in 1995. I was only 19. His mom was 20. So we were really young. And, he was born and it changed my life for the better. Kept me going down the straight and narrow path instead of there's a lot of different paths that were available to me at that time. I could have just, blew off that and continued to run around and hang out with my friends and drink all night, or, just do what I shouldn't be doing when he was born, as soon as he was born. And I knew I felt that experience, that unconditional love, that pure unconditional. And knew, I'm on the straight and narrow now. I took the path of the family, and his mom got married. actually got married twice. Got married once outside of the church, and then she wanted to get married in the Catholic Church. So on our third anniversary, we had another wedding in the church for her and her side of the family, and it was nice. But yeah, so I got married. Luke was there. Then Abby was born 2 years later. We bought a really nice house. 3 bedroom, 2 bath ranch, 2 car garage. I had a really good job, really good paying job. I was a engineer, and I always had a pretty decent job. So well, I was actually, we were living a pretty much the American dream there for 3 years, and then Luke starts school, and he starts school, and we start to see really how smart he is. By the first grade, he's so smart they're wanting him to skip a grade, and me and his mom talk about it, and we're like, nah, as far as social stuff goes, he's already kind of a social introvert, so we wanted him to stay in his class with his friends and the people that he knew, and so that's what we ended up not allowing him to skip a grade. But man, he was first grade or reading at 4th grade level. He was just never seen a B on his report card. I don't even know if I ever saw a B on any of his homework or anything like that. He was definitely a genius. And I don't say that. I mean, I really think he was a genius. Yeah, and like I said, we got to school, and then then me and his mom started having problems. That any kid, it started affecting him, and I feel so terrible about that. I've apologized to him over and over and over about that. I played my part in that. It wasn't one or just the other that caused it. It was both of us. We both played a part in it. So, and then when we did split up, she moved to Pennsylvania with a fella she met, and they got married. And for the first year and a half after we divorced, I kept the kids with me, but I always felt that a kid needs to. So I let them move up there with her under the promise that they'd get to come down here every summer and every holiday. So, and that worked out well. We loved our summers together. We had so much fun. We'd burn fires out in the backyard. We'd go to the movies. We'd go to the drive-in movies. We'd go to Holiday World, Kings Island one year. Just everything, we'd go down to my grandma's down in the country, and it was fun. It was fun having them here for the summer and just spending that time with them. And so yeah, that's and Luke, I think he went to both his proms, but I don't ever really remember him having a steady girl or anything. I don't think he ever just was really to think about settling down until he got his life. I would say financially secured, and I understand that. And he was, like I said, he's well on his way. He had just graduated with an associate's with cybersecurity, and he was, we were talking and discussing his future. I told him want to get your bachelor's and master's, it's fine. You don't have to worry about working or anything. Just get your school loans, get your degree. We'll be all right. But you do what you want to do. It's your life, not mine. That's just my suggestion. But, it's all, after that day, it was all just planning for a future that wasn't going to happen. For whatever reason, I still don't really understand. No cause of death found. On his death certificate, it's unknown. And even if that post-mortem genetic test comes back and it shows something, if it shows something, I can get my other children checked if they have it too, so that would be a blessing. But it's not going to change anything. It's not going to bring him back. Not going to. It won't really put me at ease. I mean, it would be good to know. But, even if he had that disposition, it doesn't tell me that that's what caused it. Still going to be at a loss. But, yeah, he was, other things. He was athletic. He liked to play baseball. He played high school basketball. I remember that. He was a big gamer, loved video games. Him and his little brother Elijah, they would play online games together. And he'd even play them with my brother, my baby brother, my little brother Dwayne, and his nephew that lived here with us, Gavin. But yeah, we used to cook together, try all kinds of new recipes and just stuff like that. And just had fun doing that. I'm going to try not to make this episode quite as long. Maybe 20 minutes. So I'll talk for another couple minutes and then I'll let you go. And then tomorrow we'll swing back around and talk about the relationships between me and him and his brothers and sisters. And, we'll talk about the relationship between him and his mother and him and his stepdad and him and the rest of the extended family. How his passing affected everybody. It affected everybody in a negative way, of course, but some way more than others because they were closer to him. And, I'm here in his room, and I kept a lot of his things. His poster back. I put that back up. I'd taken it down initially and put it back up. These hats back here on this hat rack. If you can see them, Kentucky hat, Cincinnati Reds hat. There's a few more over there. I had put them away too, and I pulled them back out. And, I got his perfumes back here and lotion back here on this cabinet. He was, I tell you, he is the best son. Best son. He was my best friend. God knew what he was doing. And he gave him to me to look after while he was here. I hope he feels the same way about me. But yeah, I'll call this episode 2 for today. I just want to give you a little bit of background on Luke and, you know, kind of let you get to know him a little bit. Beautiful son. I want to call that for today. Thank everybody for tuning in that's listening. And thank you all for your support. All those that are going to keep you, send you good vibes. And if you ever need anything, love you all. Oh yeah, that's about it for today. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and I just wanted to introduce you all to Luke, and just point out some key characteristics of who he was, so that y'all could meet him and get to know him just a little bit better. That way, as I talk about him, you understand really who I'm talking about, and um, who he was, and he was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person. So loving, so caring, so funny, so smart, so helpful, so generous. But we'll finish that up. That'll finish up episode 2. And, when I go to record episode 3, we'll start talking about the relationships that he had with his siblings and his step siblings, and with me and his mom and his grandma and his uncles, and his aunts and cousins, and we'll just go down the list, and we'll just talk a little bit, and let how much they loved him, and the time they spent with him, and it'll be a good bit amount of information. But yeah, and I just want to thank you all for tuning in today to listen. All y'all that did, and I appreciate your support. And if you've enjoyed it this far, we got a long, long way to go. But I'll have a lot of good and important information. Maybe something a little bit of controversy, but I think that's when it comes to religion, that's a thing that you can't get away from. A few disagreements, but if we all agree to disagree and respect each other's opinions, that's what makes this world such a wonderful place. And I love you guys, and I love everybody, and I will see you next episode.